Multimillionaire's shocking test to find a new wife revealed an inspiring, hidden truth about love. Eric Lawson, a man who once wore his wealth like a badge of honor, sat alone in his sprawling mansion, the silence echoing off the walls. With every tick of the clock, the absence of his wife, Margaret, gnawed at his heart, leaving a chasm of loneliness he couldn't ignore. He glanced at the empty chair across from him at the grand dining table. Her laughter was gone, her kindness silenced. The buzzing world outside felt distant as he tucked his feet under him, desperation setting in. It was time for a new beginning, a chance to rediscover love. But how? In a moment of wild inspiration, he conceived a plan that would astonish the affluent suburban community of Texas where he lived. A competition to find a new partner, a contest laced with the promise of not only his heart, but a slice of his fortune. News of his unconventional contest rippled through the neighborhood, drawing hopefuls from all walks of life. Single mothers wrestling with ambitions, dream-chasing professionals, and a retired veteran carrying the weight of sacrifice. The first challenge appeared innocuous enough, but quickly revealed its depth. Each contestant would work together on a community service project. Their goal? To help a local family teetering on the edge of eviction. As they rallied around their shared task, Eric found himself amazed by their courage. Each story unveiled a tapestry woven with threads of struggle and hope. The single mother juggled late shifts while her children slept. The ambitious professional poured every ounce of energy into her craft, and the veteran shared quiet strength from years of service. It resonated with him. However, as he watched them, a storm brewed within. Eric's privilege sat heavily on his shoulders, casting doubt on their sincerity. Did they want him for his wealth? Or was there something deeper at play? Days turned into weeks, and camaraderie transformed these strangers into a tight-knit family. But it was one fragile moment during a community gathering that would shake him to his core. The contestant stepped forward, her voice breaking through the noise, sharing her heartbreaking tale. Tears filled her eyes as she spoke of sleepless nights and dreams on hold, all for her younger siblings. Eric felt a tightness in his chest. This wasn't merely a contest anymore. It was a reflection of their resilience. With every word, it became apparent, love cannot be quantified through achievements or wealth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With this heart-wrenching truth rattling around his mind, Eric felt the community around them evolve. Families were mending, friendships blossoming, and for the first time, he saw that belonging and support were the true measures of success. Tensions rose as the competition came to a close, but so too did the bonds forged through labor and sacrifice. Eric found himself at a crossroads, teetering between his old beliefs and a newly discovered authenticity. Could he truly embrace a love not defined by status, but rather by shared experiences and trials? The finalists stood before him, each radiating stories of hope, yet uncertain if they would be chosen. As he prepared for his final decision, Eric's heart raced. The choice he faced was not just about finding a partner, but about rediscovering the essence of humanity. Unresolved, he pondered his own worth against theirs, the question buzzing in the air like a storm cloud. Could he really see the value in someone who, like him, had fought so hard against the odds? As Eric stood before the contestants, the weight of the moment pressed on his chest. Each face before him held the reflections of struggles he could hardly comprehend, yet ache of empathy stretched his heart. It wasn't just about who would become his new partner. It was about understanding what genuine love felt like again, about recognizing the beauty in vulnerability and finding a connection that transcended wealth. The room was quiet enough to hear a pin drop. He could feel their eyes, filled with hope and fear, urging him to make a choice. Eric wanted to be fair, but fairness disappeared in the haze of personal feelings. He thought of the stories he had heard, the single mother's late-night battles to provide for her siblings, the professional artist pouring her soul into a painting that could change her life, the veteran whose steadfast presence offered solace to many. Each narrative uniquely touching, each contestant radiant in their own right. "Let us remember," he said, his voice steady but soft. "This competition started as a way for me to find love. But along the way," he paused, searching for the right words, "I found something far more important. Community. Togetherness. A reminder of what it means to truly care for one another." He could see a flicker of understanding among them. Suddenly, one contestant, Anna, stepped forward. "Eric, what you've created here is transcending the usual confines of a dating game. We didn't just come for the prize. We came for each other, for goodwill, and for hope. If you choose one of us, the rest will still feel like family." Her voice trembled with sincerity. The honesty of her words struck him harder than a punch. Could he become part of the living tapestry they had woven? A thread he never realized he needed? Just then, memories flooded back his wife, Margaret, chasing their toddlers through the park, laughter spiraling into the blue sky. He had lost that simplicity, that bond. Could he find it among these wonderful souls? Emotion welled up in him. He was ready to let go of his past, to redefine what it meant to be loved. The crowd of contestants sighed, and he felt the others leaning in, sharing the weight of this collective moment. Unraveled by emotion, he sensed they were all on the brink of something equally transformative. As he looked around, a faint glimmer of excitement gripped him. Maybe the answer lay not with one person, but with a deeper connection to a community that had shown him the essence of togetherness. A mother's sacrifice, an artist's dream, a veteran's patience, they all became threads that could weave an even stronger fabric of life. Finally, Eric spoke, his heart racing. "I can't just choose one of you. I want to build something with all of you to continue this journey. Love isn't a scoreboard. It's about shared growth and community." The room buzzed with whispers, and for a moment, no one could believe what they heard. He had shattered the rules in one heartfelt declaration. But as the delighted cheers began to swell, uncertainty followed closely. Would they embrace this unexpected turn? Would they blend their lives into one? Eric found himself at the edge of a new reality, not quite sure where it would lead. As he stood surrounded by candidates who not only inspired him, but also offered a chance to genuinely connect, a new question loomed large. Had he opened the door wide enough to let love in? Or had he simply set the stage for even more profound challenges ahead? The cheers echoed in the room, hearts fluttered, and for a moment, it felt as if the world outside had vanished. Eric looked at the contestants, their faces awash with emotions ranging from joy to disbelief. But beneath the surface of excitement, he could also sense a ripple of apprehension. How would they respond to this new vision he had for them all? As the excitement began to settle, Anna approached him again. "Eric," she said quietly, "what does this mean for us? Are we still individuals in this? Or do we have to give up our own stories to fit into a single narrative?" Her question pierced the air, the vulnerability in her voice weighing heavy like a stone. Eric paused, considering her words. He didn't want them to lose their identities in this new formation he was proposing. "I want each of you to shine," he replied, keeping his tone soft yet assertive. "You are so much more than contestants to me. You are individuals with unique journeys. Together, we can uplift and support one another in ways I never thought possible." The room was quiet again, and the intensity of the moment was palpable. Each contestant was processing what this truly could mean. Would they still have their own dreams, their own paths, while blending their lives together? They looked to each other, searching for assurance, and Eric noticed a flicker of solidarity. They were bonding over uncertainty. With the air still thick with questions, a burst of laughter suddenly broke the tension. One of the contestants, Mark, cleverly broke the solemnity. "I mean, how do we make sure we all get enough pizza at our next group outing? You know that's a necessity if we're going to make this work." The laughter cascaded through the room, and the atmosphere lightened. That was the spark they needed. Eric smiled, realizing just how important these moments of levity were for building connections. He wanted to ensure that joy remained prevalent in their journey together, even amid uncertainty. "Pizza parties it is," Eric exclaimed, grinning. "And maybe we can throw in a game night or two. I want us to celebrate the wins, big and small. Something tells me we'll need a lot of those along the way." As the conversation shifted toward plans for fun in the future, a sense of camaraderie blossomed. That shared laughter felt more potent than any prize they had originally aimed for. This was more than a competition. It was the seeds of friendship being sown in the most unexpected of circumstances. Anna's eyes sparkled as she quietly approached Eric once again. "You know, this could work if we all wanted to," she said, a hint of mischief dancing on her lips. Despite the growing connection, a nagging doubt tugged at Eric's mind. Could he truly balance the different personalities, ambitions, and dreams? Would he be able to nurture the relationships while still moving forward as a collective? There was so much potential, but also risk. For every breakthrough in bonding, a new question arose about managing this unusual partnership. "Okay, but what if one of us wants to sing karaoke while another wants to paint?" Anna added, teasingly. "I might just drag you all into my artistic chaos. What's life without a little chaos?" Eric replied, laughing along with the other contestants that they continued to joke and share laughs. There was an undeniable energy in the air. The thrill of the unknown awaited them, laced with excitement yet mixed with trepidation. With each moment shared, Eric was struck by the thought that they were on the brink of something transformative. If only he could navigate the challenges ahead smoothly. One heartwarming connection could lead to merger, but also to misunderstandings. As the laughter mixed with hints of underlying fears, a powerful question lingered. Could he hold this newfound community together, or would it unravel with the complexities he couldn't yet foresee? The laughter continued, a comforting blanket over the uncertainties hovering in the air. Eric watched the faces of the contestants morphing from anxiety to tentative excitement. This was more than just a competition. These moments were seeds sprouting in the fertile ground of their shared experiences. Yet, the pressure to keep everyone together weighed heavily. "All right, everyone," he finally called out, raising his voice to gather their attention. "Before we dive into our plans for epic pizza parties and game nights, I need your help with something a little different." Curiosity sparked in their eyes as they leaned in, eager for direction. "We're going to create a team vision board together," Eric declared, beaming. "Each of you should bring something, an image, a word, whatever you feel represents your hopes and dreams. We'll combine them into one big collage. It'll serve as our reminder of who we are, both as individuals and as a group." "Are we talking glitter?" Mark chimed in, a playful grin on his face. "If that's your vision, let us glitter away," Eric chuckled, feeling lighter. The atmosphere shifted as they embraced the idea, their earlier doubts slowly dissipating like fog lifting from a sunny morning. As they brainstormed their visions, Anna stepped forward, her expression contemplative. "What if we don't want to share everything? Not everyone is comfortable laying bare their dreams, Eric." He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. "That's fine. Share what you're comfortable with. This isn't about pressure. It's about creating a space where everyone feels safe and valued." A ripple of acceptance floated through the group. Everyone had their stories, unique and varied. While Eric wanted to unite them, he understood that vulnerability could be daunting. As the group began to gather supplies, magazines, scissors, and colorful markers, Eric stepped back to observe the gradual blossoming of community spirit. Laughter echoed as they flipped through pages, ripping out images and words that resonated with them. Hope intertwined with uncertainty, and he saw pieces of their true selves emerging bit by bit. But as visions came to life, he couldn't shake the feeling of doubt rooted deep within him. What would happen when the fun faded? Would they turn on each other when the stakes were high? What would he do if clashes arose over different ambitions or paths? The pressures of bringing unique personalities into harmony loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. His thoughts were interrupted by a sudden shout from one of the contestants, Isabel. "Guys, I found the perfect word." She held up a magazine clipping with "fearless" emblazoned across it. A mixture of cheers and laughs erupted, and Eric felt a surge of warmth. Fearless in the face of challenges, huh? He mused quietly to himself. Maybe there was a hidden strength within them, all something greater than just individual pursuits. As they continued to collect words and images, Eric felt a renewed sense of purpose. Perhaps if he nurtured their individual aspirations, they could weave a collective tapestry instead of losing themselves in a single narrative. The evening whirled on with creativity and excitement. But as the board began to take shape, a thought nagged at the back of his mind. Soon, there would be choices to make, ones that might test the very bonds forming between them. Could he truly be the leader they needed, or would this new adventure unravel, revealing rifts that could tear them apart? The weight of the question hung in the air, heavy and electric. Just as Eric resolved to face it, the group's laughter circled him once again, pulling him back into the moment. Somewhere in the room, new memories were being made. But as he watched them create, one realization dawned on him. It wasn't about avoiding the complexities, it was about embracing them. Would he be bold enough to dive into the heart of those challenges and gather strength from them? Maybe, just maybe, the prize wasn't only about personal wins at the end of this journey, but the discovery of a fierce new family. What awaited them on that path, though, was still shrouded in mystery. And as if on cue, Mark raised a finger and asked, "So when do we hang this masterpiece up?" The implication of that simple question sent a shiver down Eric's spine, igniting the lingering anxiety. If this was the start of something beautiful, would they all want to see how it ends? Eric glanced around the room, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation pulse through him. The colorful images and words they had gathered formed a collage of hope and ambition. But the journey ahead loomed large and uncertain. That simple question from Mark echoed in his mind, a reminder that the fun they had tonight wouldn't last forever. "Let us gather around the board," Eric suggested, trying to shift the focus away from his swirling thoughts. He could see the eagerness on their faces, the curiosity alive like fireflies on a warm night. They shuffled closer, their eyes sparkling with dreams, yet to unfurl as they assembled. It was clear this wasn't just a collection of cutouts. Each piece held a story, a piece of the puzzle that made up who they were. Someone held up a picture of a mountain, another revealed a sunny beach. Words like courage, growth, and adventure danced on the surface. Eric smiled. Their dreams reminded him that this was about more than victory in the competition. It was about building a community. "Okay, everyone, let us talk about what we see here. How do these pieces fit into our journey together?" he prompted, eager for their input. Isabel stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with passion. "I see fearlessness here, but I also see the mountains and challenges we need to climb together." "It means we're not just cheering for ourselves," added Mark. "We're pushing each other too. We're in this together." That warmth spread through the group, a shared sense of purpose igniting a fiery enthusiasm. Yet, a pit of worry clenched in Eric's stomach. How would they react when conflicts arose? He had seen the best of people in collaboration, but he'd also witnessed the ugliest sides born from the pressure of competition. "Then let us make a promise," Eric said, standing a little taller. "We will face those challenges as a team. Whatever comes is just another chance to grow stronger together." Silence followed his words, a moment where he could see each person weighing their commitment to this idea. Then Anna raised her hand, breaking the spell. "What if we create a mantra, something we can repeat when things get tough?" "Absolutely. A reminder of who we really are," Eric encouraged, grateful for her insight. After a flurry of suggestions, they settled on fearless together. The way they said it held power, a unified voice that sent a thrill through Eric's veins. They repeated it, feeling the energy rise, each echo louder and more confident than the last. But in the back of his mind, doubt continued to gnaw at him. Was that rallying cry strong enough to hold them together during hardships? What if somebody stumbled and didn't T want to commit? His thoughts were interrupted by a loud crash. A stack of magazines spilled onto the floor, sending laughter rippling through the room again. Isabel knelt to help pick up the mess. Guess that's my fear of chaos kicking in, she joked. That's okay. That may just inspire our next project, Eric chuckled, recognizing that imperfections also had a place in their journey. As he watched his new friends dive into the mess, the laughter warmed him. The bond they were creating felt more profound with every shared word and image. Yet, as much as he felt a sense of hope, anxiety curled around his heart. The road ahead wasn't set with clear paths. Shifting his gaze back to their vision board, Eric felt the excitement and fear blend into something tangible, a tightrope walk between fear and the desire to dive deeper into this new family they were forming. As the night continued to roll on, the question marked not just Eric's mind but clouded the thoughts of all. They had dreams, bold and bright, but when adversity knocked, would their chorus still ring true? Just as that thought crystallized, a soft voice spoke from the back. So, what happens when someone feels too scared to voice their worries? The room fell still, the laughter waning. Eric felt the weight of that inquiry hanging in the air, heavy and pulsing with uncertainty. How they handled it could shape the very core of what they were becoming. Would they be fearless together? The silence that followed lingered like an unfinished song, resonating through Eric's chest. He caught sight of Anna, her brows knitted together in thought. What if we create a space, a safe one where we can all voice our fears, no matter how big or small? Her idea drifted in the air like a gentle breeze, tugging at the hearts in the room. Everyone nodded, as if acknowledging a truth they had been afraid to face. The notion of vulnerability hung above them, flickering like a candle ready to illuminate dark corners they had brushed aside. Yeah, like having a weekly check-in, Mark suggested, his voice steady. No judgment, just support. Isabel chimed in, I do love that. It's important to show our true selves. The floodgates began to open. Each person shared their thoughts, their fears tangled with simple worries and deeper anxieties. In a world rife with judgment, they were crafting a haven. A community where honesty wasn't fraught with consequences, but was instead embraced and cherished. Eric felt warmth blossoming in him as he listened. It struck him that this was more than friendship. They were forging links that would sustain them through the trials ahead. They had created a calling to rise together, to share and listen without fear, but then a palpable tension rolled through. What if someone doesn't feel safe or feels embarrassed? Caitlin's voice fluttered, her cheeks flushed. What if we ignore the hard truths, the things that could tear us apart? The group's energy shifted, and Eric's heart raced. Would they weather this storm? Would they remain steadfast in their resolve? He cleared his throat, feeling the weight of their fears heavy on his shoulders. We need to promise to listen and to speak with kindness. We have to hold space for one another always. Right? Anna nodded emphatically. Maybe we can set some ground rules? It could help everyone feel more secure. As they began pouring ideas into the circle, Eric found himself feeling lighter. Each suggestion crafted a protective shield that fortified their trust. They made a list: confidentiality, active listening, no interrupting, and, above all, respect. It wasn't just a list, it was a code of honor. After putting their agreement together, Eric stood back a moment to take it all in. Their courage shone through, illuminating the anxiety that had lingered within him. With their foundation built, they could now step into the unknown together, with fear as a companion, not a foe. But as the moment of unity settled over them, Eric couldn't shake the troubling thought nestled in the back of his mind, whispering that this newfound bond was still fragile. What if the pressure of their intentions became too much? Could they survive without fracturing when the weight of reality pressed on them? Just then, the sound of his phone buzzing broke through the room as harmony. The message splashed across the screen: urgent team, meeting tomorrow. Big news. The laughter and warmth dissipated. Eyes darted around in uncertainty, and he could see the worry begin to bubble up. What would this meeting mean for their promises, for their dreams? The night they had built together was teetering on the edge of something monumental. Would their commitment to be fearless together hold strong? As he glanced at the faces around him, he saw hope yet, mingled with that ever-present uncertainty. They had forged dreams, but now it seemed they would have to face an unexpected turn of fate together. And deep within him, a question lingered. Could they confront whatever was waiting for them and still come out intact? The next morning, the atmosphere was electric with tension. Eric arrived at the office, his heart drumming a frantic beat. He could feel the unease radiating off his co-workers like heat from an oven. The large conference room was unusually silent as he entered. Faces were pale, eyes wide, simmering with uncertainty. Mark was already there, pacing back and forth, his hands shoved into his pockets. "Did you hear about the meeting?" he asked, his voice tight. "I heard it's about layoffs or worse." Layoffs? Eric felt a knot form in his stomach. The weight of their newfound promises pushed down on him. How could they promise to support each other if their jobs were in jeopardy? Isabel approached, her brow furrowed, clutching a stack of folders. "If they're cutting jobs, it could change everything, our plans, the space we want to create." Eric nodded, trying to gather his thoughts as the group began to assemble. Each new arrival added to the mounting tension. They all exchanged anxious glances, the invisible thread of worry weaving through the air. Anna joined them last, her skin flushed. "I've been thinking a lot about our meeting last night," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "No matter what happens here, we need to remember that we have each other." Just as her words settled, the door swung open. Their manager, Lisa, stepped inside with an intensity that sent shivers down Eric's spine. She was the kind of person who commanded attention, and her presence filled the room. "Thank you all for gathering on such short notice," Lisa began, her tone neutral. "I know there has been a lot of speculation swirling around." The room grew quiet, every ear straining to catch her next words. "We have some big changes coming to the company. But despite what you may have heard, we're not having layoffs." A collective sigh of relief swept through the room. Instead, she continued, her gaze fixed on them, "We're restructuring to innovate and grow. I'm here to introduce a new project that will require all hands on deck, no exceptions." Eric's heart raced. Would this project challenge the bond they had formed in their safe haven? "We'll be working late nights and weekends, and it will demand your very best," Lisa added, her voice even. "For those who succeed with this, there will be opportunities for promotions and bonuses that could change your career path." Excitement mingled with fear, and uncertainty hung in the air. Could they keep their commitments to each other while dealing with the stress that was about to unfold? Anna's hand found Eric's, squeezing it tight. It was a simple gesture, but it anchored him. The warmth of connection pushed back the waves of anxiety crashing against him. When Lisa finished, the room erupted into murmurs and half-formed questions. Eric stood still, processing the information. This new project could either tear them apart or bring them even closer together as they navigated the uncharted waters ahead. He looked around at their faces and felt the flicker of hope. They had shared their fears and forged a camaraderie. "We'll hold each other up," he thought fiercely. As they walked out of the conference room, Eric felt a surge of determination mixed with apprehension. Would their promise stand firm in the face of pressure? And as they moved forward, would they truly be able to support one another, or would the challenges that lay ahead reveal cracks in their unity? The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear: together, they would find out just how strong they really were. And deep down, Eric couldn't shake the thought that whatever challenges awaited them were only the beginning of a much larger journey. The next day, as the sun rose over the bustling city, Eric sat at his desk, staring blankly at his computer screen. The bright glow of the monitor contrasted sharply with the storm brewing in his mind. He felt the hum of activity around him, people typing, phones ringing, the low chatter of conversations, but it all felt distant. The weight of their new project loomed larger than the office building itself. "Dude, are you coming to the meeting?" Mark's voice broke through Eric's fog. This wasn't just any meeting. It was the first real discussion about the massive project Lisa had unveiled. Yeah, I'll be there. Eric managed a weak smile, hiding the turmoil swirling inside him. He needed to show up, not just for himself, but for his team. As the hour approached, anxiety prickled at his skin. Eric found Anna in the break room, her fingers nervously wrapping around a paper cup. "You okay?" he asked, hoping to draw strength from her steady presence. "Just thinking about all the work ahead," she said softly, meeting his gaze. "But we've got this, right?" "Together," he replied, his voice firmer now. They stepped into the conference room, where the others were gathering. Eric could feel the adrenaline in the air. Everyone was on edge, an unspoken mix of eagerness and doubt. Lisa walked in and called for order, her presence commanding everyone's focus. "Okay, team, today we're diving deeper into the project." As she outlined the expectations, milestones, and the demands, Eric's heart raced in sync with her words. Strategies began to form in his mind, possibilities unfolding like a map in front of him. But as she described their ambitious target, Eric noticed the expressions around him shift. Excitement twisted subtly into concern. Long hours, heavy workloads, overwhelming pressure. It was as if he could see each person struggling with the weight of anticipation. The meeting wore on when suddenly, Lisa posed a question to the group, her eyes sharp. "What are you all most excited about? And what are your biggest fears?" Heads turned, looking for a volunteer. Eric felt the push and pull within him. This was a defining moment. He needed to speak up. "I'm excited about what we can create as a team," he said, hoping his words conveyed strength. "But I fear that if we lose sight of one another in the hustle, we might forget why we started this journey. We can't let the project consume us." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Anna's gaze held his, a silent encouragement sparking between them. "I couldn't agree more," Mark added, jumping in. "It's about teamwork and balance. If one of us struggles, we all struggle." The conversation flowed, ideas and concerns shared like whispers carried on a breeze. In that moment, amidst the uncertainty, Eric felt a current of solidarity weaving them together. It wasn't just about the job. It was about them as individuals, the friendships they nurtured, and the community they built. After the meeting, people filtered out, buzzing with renewed energy. Eric stayed behind, feeling inspired, yet anxious, a push and pull of hope and doubt. "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" Anna asked, approaching him. "Sure, what is up?" "I've been thinking we shouldn't just be there for each other at work. We should do something outside of this stress. A day to just recharge. Maybe a hike?" Eric's heart warmed at the suggestion. "That sounds great. We'll have our own adventure." As they made their plans for the weekend, Eric felt a renewed sense of purpose. It wouldn't be easy, but now he understood that the journey ahead would not just test their bonds, it could also strengthen them. But as they walked out, a nagging feeling remained. Had they truly accounted for the challenges that lay ahead? What if the project changed everything? As they left the office behind, Eric couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle was just beginning. Eric surfaced from his thoughts as he stepped into the bustle of the city streets. The sounds of the outside world flooded in, pulling him back into reality. He could see the sun glistening off the skyscrapers, the flow of traffic, and the throngs of people hurriedly moving about their day. It was a vibrant scene, but in that moment, it felt surreal, like a movie backdrop against the turmoil within him. "Hey, want to grab lunch?" Mark called out, catching up with Eric as they weaved through the crowd. "Sure," Eric replied, grateful for the distraction. They found a small cafe, its outdoor seating filled with colorful umbrellas offering shelter from the sun. The lively chatter of patrons and the smell of fresh coffee was a mix that usually energized Eric, but today it was drowned out by his worries. As they sat down, Mark's usual playful banter felt muffled. "So, how do you really feel about everything?" Mark asked after a while. His expression shifted from playful to serious, gauging Eric's mood. Eric took a deep breath, the weight of the question sinking in. "I don't know. I'm excited but also terrified. This project feels monumental. What if we can't deliver?" Mark leaned back in his chair, tapping his fingers against the table. "We've been through a lot worse. Remember that time the client changed the entire project scope at the last minute? We pulled through. Eric chuckled softly, recalling that chaotic week. They had stayed up late, rallying together, sacrificing sleep and sanity, but they had nailed it in the end. Yeah, I remember. It gave me gray hairs. You got this, Eric. Trust in the team. And don't forget to take a breath from time to time. Balance, remember? Mark grinned and tackled his burger. You're right, Eric said, heart lifting a little. The idea of teamwork, the notion of relying on one another, warmed him. His phone buzzed violently on the table, breaking the moment. The screen lit up with a message from Anna. Can't wait for our hike. It'll all be good for both of us. Just remember to pack snacks. A smile crept onto Eric's face as he typed back a quick response, excitement easing some of the tension. After lunch, instead of returning straight to the office, Eric suggested they go for a quick stroll in the nearby park to clear their heads. The park was a breath of fresh air, with trees swaying gently and children laughing in the distance. Eric felt his heart lighten. They wandered in silence for a while, each lost in their thoughts, until Mark remarked, "We should take some team-building activities more seriously. Like, actually schedule fun stuff with the team. This project could tear us apart if we let it." Eric nodded. Yeah, we need to. We need community outside of the workspace just to stay connected. The conversation grew animated, flowing naturally into ideas for team outings. Plans started to take shape, and amidst the laughter, Eric felt a sense of hope. This could be a turning point, not just for the project, but for their relationships. When they finally returned to the office, Eric spotted Anna at her desk. Her eyes focused on her screen, while her fingers flew across the keyboard. He approached her, determined to share their ideas. Hey, Anna, I think we should really consider some team events. Like, I don't know, bowling maybe? He suggested, excitement bubbling up. She looked up, something in her eyes sparking. I love that idea. We could use that energy to drive our creative processes as well. With Anna on board, the day shifted for Eric. They began crafting a proposal for a fun team-building day and planned it around the hike they'd discussed earlier. The anticipation hooked him in, pulling him away from his worries about the project. But as he returned to his desk, a nagging thought crossed his mind again. What if their camaraderie wasn't enough to withstand the looming pressure of the project? Could friendships really survive the strain of deadlines and expectations? As he glanced around the office, uncertainty swirled within him again. What truly lay ahead? The day of the hike dawned bright and clear, the sun spilling golden rays across the landscape. Eric felt a surge of excitement as he arrived at the designated meetup spot. He spotted Anna first, her hair shining in the sunlight. A smile stretched wide across her face. She waved, her energy infectious. Are you ready for some adventure? She called out, laughter bubbling in her voice. Absolutely, Eric replied, feeling the weight of the past few weeks start to lift. One by one, the team trickled in, each person radiating a sense of relief mixed with excitement. Mark and Isabel arrived carrying a cooler packed with snacks and drinks, while Caitlin held a frisbee, eager for some lighthearted fun. As they exchanged greetings and playful jabs, Eric smiled. Little by little, they gathered and set off on the trail, a winding path that cut through trees and opened up to vibrant fields. Laughter and chatter filled the air, each step growing lighter as they escaped the corporate world. It felt freeing, like shedding layers of weight they had all been carrying. Okay, we should definitely have a team-building retreat like this every month, Mark shouted, tossing the frisbee to Caitlin, who gracefully caught it mid-flight. I'm all in. Anna chimed in, her enthusiasm bubbling over. As they hiked, they shared stories, childhood mishaps, goofy family photos, and wild adventures. With every shared laugh, Eric felt the bond between them tighten, transforming into something genuine and unbreakable. They weren't just co-workers, they were growing into a family. Midway through the hike, they stopped to catch their breath and enjoy a small picnic under a sprawling oak tree. Eric felt a powerful rush of gratitude wash over him. As laughter filled the air and the team settled down, he realized that they had forged a sense of community that could weather any storm. I just want to say how grateful I am for all of you, Eric ventured, sincerity in his voice. This journey has shown me what true connection looks like. Heads nodded, and a warmth enveloped them as they shared smiles. Caitlin was the first to respond, her eyes sparkling. We've become more than just a team. We're a support system. Exactly, Isabel added, a smile brightening her face. We're in this together, no matter what. Their words hung in the air, a promise that could carry them through the challenges ahead. Eric felt a renewed commitment to protect this bond and ensure it flourished beyond just a corporate goal. He wanted to create an environment where these connections could thrive. All right, let us finish this hike, Mark declared, already readying for a sprint up the trail. As they got moving again, the day felt brighter and more alive. They could tackle whatever challenges lay ahead together. Hours later, having trekked a considerable distance, they finally reached the summit. The panoramic view stretched before them, a breathtaking canvas of rolling hills and vast skies. They sat down, taking in the scenery, letting the moment wash over them. This is amazing, Anna breathed, looking around at her companions. We made it as a team. Now, if tomorrow's project kicks our butts, we'll always have this day to remind us of what we're capable of together, Eric replied, a grin spreading across his face. As they descended that day, laughter and playful teasing echoed through the woods. For the first time in ages, Eric felt a lightness in his heart, a connection with his coworkers that transcended professional ties. The following weeks were a whirlwind of deadlines and responsibilities, but because of that hike, the atmosphere around the office changed. Coupled with their determined resolve and commitment to support each other, they became a unit striving for success. When pressure mounted, Eric reminded everyone of their mantra, fearless together. The project unfolded, challenging yet invigorating. They tackled issues head-on, each member contributing with fresh ideas forged from the bonds they had built. With every accomplishment, their hearts swelled with pride, lifting each other's spirits in the process. One afternoon, as they celebrated another milestone at a team gathering, Eric reflected on how far they had come. Laughter filled the air as they shared stories of their victories and setbacks, the camaraderie bolstering stronger with each shared moment. Who would have thought a simple hike would lead us here? He mused aloud, catching Anna's eye. And who knew that community was the heart of success? She replied, her meaning unmistakable. As the gathering settled down, Eric stood to speak again, feeling a deep sense of purpose. I want us to keep this spirit alive, even when challenges arise. Let us have regular check-ins and stay connected. No one fights alone. Agreements rang out, nodding heads and supportive cheers, solidifying the pact. They forged promises that day, not just for the project, but for their future together. In the end, they weren't just colleagues working towards a goal. They cultivated a thriving family. They understood that love wasn't about wealth or status, but about connection, growth, and support against the odds. Eric knew that as long as they held on to that truth, they could face anything the world threw their way. The road ahead sparkled with possibilities, and with the strength of their bond, they were ready for whatever might come next. And so, in a world that often valued individual pursuits, they chose to build their future on the strength of community, a testament to the power of love and resilience to create something greater together. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and touch your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this community growing. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible journey of transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing story of love and connection. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these essential actions.